Before we begin today's episode, I just want to pay homage to NASA's Opportunity rover, who made a 90-day mission last over 15 years. Opportunity, we salute you for an absolutely stellar job. You have done more than we could have ever possibly imagined in your short life. Enjoy the great big rover landscape in the sky, buddy. Hello all and welcome to another episode of Flat Earth Friday with me, Simon Dan. Today we're looking at a YouTuber called The Smallest Light, who claims to have found undebunkable proof that we don't live on a globe.
But what we can do with our brains is plainly see they're most certainly lying. And this is completely undebunkable.
Is it going to be undebunkable proof, or a simple concept that the Flat Earther can't get his head round? Only one way to find out.
What's up, YouTube? It's Bryce back again. What I have here is an image from timeanddate.com, and it is the 23rd of June, 2018.
Okay, important point, the date. At the time of him filming this, it's only just past the summer solstice in the Northern Hemisphere. We'll make sure we make a note of that.
And right now they're showing the sun off of the east coast of the United States above South America.
Oh dear, already we can see a clear contradiction between the 3D world he lives in and the 2D limitations of his mind's eye.
They're showing the moon below India and China, and they're showing darkness for all this area, including Australia.
Of course, though the moon's position in its orbit has no bearing whatsoever on how dark it is on any particular part of the Earth.
They're showing light for all this area right now. For anyone who knows and keeps up with it, Alaska is under a 24 period of sunlight right now. So the sun will be continuously, here's a globe, rotating around the top portion of the globe in order for them to be under 24 sunlight, correct?
Incorrect. The sun does not circle over the North Pole in order for it to have 24-hour sunlight. Simply not true. During the northern summer, the Arctic Circle is able to achieve 24-hour sunlight because of the Earth's tilt. Here it is being beautifully demonstrated by a group of school children.
Okay, so we'll continue to go to see what's all under the light of day. We can go all the way down to the tip of Antarctica right here and see that it's lit up as well. So, what I'm going to do here is try to position this camera in such a way that I can show both of those things, because right here is Alaska. Here is the position of the sun where I have my ship from a previous video, but we'll just call that the sun now. So if the sun is right here, well, of course it's 400 million miles away, but I'm just saying it's in that direction.
400 million miles? Where in the blue blazers did he pull that number from? It's 93 million miles, buddy.
Can we view Alaska and look what I have to do to see this tip of Antarctica, I apologize. Right down here, I can see it without dropping the globe. I'm about to put my thumb on it right there. You see it? And that is this place that's lit up. See? Right here. Okay, back up. Now I want to take where my thumb is and back out. See if we can see Alaska as well. That's going to be extremely difficult because Alaska's way over here. See? Okay?
I'd say pretty much impossible because you've got your globe tilted as if it's winter in the Northern Hemisphere, where the Northern Pole area is tilted away from the light source.
So there's one questionable thing, right?
No, not questionable. Here is the requested shot, with the globe in the correct position as stated by your own admission that it is close to the summer solstice. You can quite clearly see the points you are referring to.
Now we have all of South America lit up. We have all of Africa minus the Horn. Egypt, Russia is in the light. Okay, so we're going to look at that and take into consideration. Still, we have Alaska up here in the light. We have down here, really low, that piece of Antarctica in the light. As we back up, we go over here. All of Africa, except for this Horn, is in the light. All of Egypt, and then all of this green up here. Russia, all the way over here. So it seems very odd to me because this right here represents the North Pole right here. And this is Alaska where we started. This is Russia, and the light goes all the way over here, all the way around all these areas, like it would be, like the sun would be up here. You see what I'm saying? So how on earth is that piece lit up down there?
As I said, you have your globe pointing the wrong way. Why is it that flat earthers can't get the simplest things right?
Right? That little piece right here. How is that lit up? How is that lit up for that matter? You know, this right here, whenever it's all this up here is lit up as well. Now, I want to take a second to try to explain this to you, why we're flat earthers.
Okay, here we go. Here comes the groundbreaking explanation.
This is a flat earth map. Here's the United States. Now, what I've done for you is take the timeanddate.com information, and it's messy, but I've made my own.
It looks like you've let a 5-year-old loose on it with a permanent marker and a highlighter.
And as you see, the sun is right off the east coast of the United States. If I flip it around, you'll notice by the shape, this is where we believe India to be positioned, that everything's a circle. This is called the Gleason map. It is an actual map. You can look it up, but it's a flat earth map.
And it's tragically wrong. All the continents are all the wrong size and everything. I really should do a video on how wrong this map is.
I put the moon right under India. As you see, it is here. So I've colored in this area to represent darkness, and then with the yellow I've colored in to represent daylight. So you can see the sun's practically in the middle of this illuminated portion, and at the edges right here it would be like if you took, here I got an example for you, like if you took a flashlight and you see as I get close the circle gets smaller. So if I'm over it, see that right there? The sun is local and close and rotating around like this. And the moon is behind it and it's spinning around the same pattern. But what I'm saying is, if the sun were further, then it would be like that. So that's how we can have darkness on the same plane.
That's all well and good, but if you were in the actual dark part of the disk, you should be able to still see the sun. I never ever get a good explanation for that one.
As you have the light there. But I just wanted to go over this with you and show you, that you can look this up right now and see. This is what they tell us. It really only conforms. This is what they tell us is illuminated right now by the sun. And it only conforms or fits on this flat disk map. It does not work with this ball.
Except I've just made it work with a globe. And your drawing looks like a dog's dinner.
So if you're on the fence about flat earth, they'll try to distract you by bringing up points about other things. But if you find one thing that completely destroys what they say, why listen to anything else?
Yes, if you're on the fence, please do watch the Smallest Lights video and my response to it.
There's no need to believe you live on a ball that's spinning, period. So it may not be flat, it may be something else, but it conforms to this map. We don't have the technology to show it. It's their responsibility to show us with the tax dollars that we pay them.
You mean like how they show us every single day?
But what we can do with our brains is plainly see they're most certainly lying. And this is completely undebunkable.
If you say so, buddy, keep telling yourself that. Right, that brings another episode of Flat Earth Friday to a close. Thank you very, very much for joining me. If you have enjoyed it, please do like and subscribe. I have been Simon Dan. Have yourselves a great weekend, and I'll see you all on Tuesday, where we'll be taking another look at NASA. When it comes to Flat Earth personalities, there is one who seems to have wormed his way into the public eye more than any other.
Can I ask, Mark, do you believe that men have been on the moon, Mark?
No, do not believe anything the Americans tell you about their space program at all.
Wow.
Right, but you're an American, are you or not?
I absolutely am an American.
Why should I believe you as an American, but not any other American?
Yes, that was flat earther Mark Sargent, who has not only found himself on countless TV and radio interviews, but he was also one of the main subjects of the recent Flat Earth documentary Behind the Curve. But how did Mark become so infamous in the Flat Earth community? Where did it all start? Today, we find out. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Flat Earth Friday. If you are new here, I am your host and my name is Simon Dan. Yes, today we're looking at the first video in a series of videos that Mark Sargent calls Flat Earth Clues. The videos are often cited as a flat earther's first look at flat Earth and potentially converted hundreds at the very beginning.
That, and I've seen dedicated trolls on the Flat Earth Society website who show up every day and say the same thing to new forum members. It's a joke. It's not serious. Nothing to see here.
So let's start from the beginning and look at the very first video in the Flat Earth Clues series. Perhaps if I make my own series critiquing his, we can stop more from trickling over to the other side. Away we go.
This is a Reader's Digest version containing many of the interesting parts of the Flat Earth theory. For those who have already started seeing things with new eyes, it will be mostly a recap, but there could be a few new angles you haven't looked at. For the rest of you who are new to this, the first question is invariably, is this a joke? Because it's a joke, right?
Unfortunately not, it seems. Yes, there are grown adults who walk around believing that the Earth is flat. Grown adults who have no problem whatsoever in completely disregarding all of the scientific discoveries of history. What Mark doesn't seem to realise though is the joke is well and truly on them.
And that's where we start, because it's one of our two basic childhood facts. 1 + 1 = 2, and the Earth is a globe.
Actually, in the UK anyway, they don't look at Earth and space until year 5, which is about 9 and 10 years old. They do look at the seasons in year 1, 5 to 6 years old, but other than that, they don't have any other sort of teachings. Obviously there could be a globe in the classroom, and obviously it could be referred to from time to time, but it's not officially taught.
We're taught this before almost everything else, and that right there should give you a clue on how serious this secret is.
Well, not really. I don't think it's unreasonable to tell a child what our home looks like.
But for those who have forgotten their history, here's the modified Men in Black version. For the first 4,000 years of our civilization, we believe that the Earth was a flattish disk, surrounded by a solid dome barrier called the firmament.
Yeah, that was pretty embarrassing, wasn't it? Let's move on from that quickly.
All of the 5 major religions had their own version of this, and the churches enforced the belief. Then, around 1514, a man named Copernicus created a new model of the world. He stated that if the Earth was spinning around 1,100 miles an hour and circling the Sun at 60,000 miles an hour, the world was then round.
This is absolutely not how it happened. Copernicus already knew that the Earth was spherical. He just changed the geocentric view that we all had. For a full rundown on the history of astronomy, I thoroughly recommend you check out my series of lectures. I'll leave the link for those in the description.
And while the math more or less worked, there was a problem. It was 1500, and the technology to prove such a theory wasn't there. The first balloon to carry people wasn't invented until 1760. Sailboats were the only travel over water, and the fastest thing on land was a horse. But the new worldview was promoted and took hold. The religions adapted to handle the new reality, and life moved on.
Yes, because it was correct. This is how science works. Our level of understanding increases as time moves on. Explanations and theories are superseded by other explanations and theories until we get it bang on.
More importantly, the globe model was quickly introduced into the education systems.
And why wouldn't it?
Over the next 500 years, the challenges to this model faded, to the point where the globe was accepted as universally as physical laws such as gravity. Read that again if you didn't absorb it. For 20 generations, people believed that the Earth was round because there was a globe in every classroom they sat in.
Well, no. They learnt about the fact that the Earth is round, and they had the level of understanding that's required in order to accept something as a universal truth. Also, YouTube wasn't around back then, which helped tremendously.
There was no proof. Hundreds of years went by, and still civilization had no way of proving the theory. Planes were invented around 1900, but until 1957, nothing could go high enough to give a true perspective of where we lived. And that's when everything got strange. The United States and Russia both sent up rockets high enough to take decent pictures, and what they saw scared them a great deal. How do we know they were extremely concerned about the sky? Because the US and Russia immediately started firing nuclear weapons straight up, and they kept firing for the next 4 years.
So how do you go from two countries testing nuclear weapons by firing them high up into the sky to the Earth's flat? Seems preposterous to me.
A few things to keep in mind here. First, this was now 1958. Nuclear weapons were very expensive and hard to come by. These also weren't those nominal yield 20 kiloton toys we used on Hiroshima. This was high kiloton to low megaton, and we couldn't get them up fast enough. And the strangeness continued in other places. In 1959, only a year into the atmosphere bombardment, 10 nations, including the United States, made Antarctica off-limits to any colonization. A treaty was put in place, and to this day remains intact. Over 50 nations now have signed off on this treaty. Do you know any treaty that has lasted that long between all industrialized nations? Moreover, do you know any piece of real estate in the world that is owned by no one? You would think at the very least one of the large oil companies would use their huge financial resources to explore this region, and yet they don't even petition the idea.
So that's got nothing to do with the minus 60 degree temperature then, or the fact that Antarctica is on a giant slab of continent rather than an ocean. And of course the inhospitable environment means that everyone wants to go there. The treaty states that Antarctica shall continue forever to be used exclusively for peaceful purposes and shall not become the scene for object or international discord. Why would you want to rock that boat with 54 countries on board?
The short version of the discovery is this. By 1958, the military had discovered the very solid upper and outer edges of our world, and had to create a way to put up do not enter signs without looking obvious. It was tricky, but if there is one thing I have learned about the authority, it's that nothing is left to chance. Most of the work had already been done for them, so their job was primarily in the details. The sky part of the dome was much higher than commercial air traffic, so the only thing they had to worry about there was the space program, which is immediately militarized.
Whilst there has been crossover missions between NASA and the military, NASA itself is a civilian agency.
The outer border had the natural benefit of not only an extensive ocean, but a scaling decrease in temperature and a steady increase in iceberg frequency to discourage ships, all leading to a permanently frozen landmass that could not be used for any form of agriculture. This ocean and ice layout had worked well for thousands of years because the technology of the current civilization didn't evolve quickly. Sailors avoided cold weather seas whenever possible, and oxygen levels get low enough to harm people, even on high mountains.
Yes, we've discussed this. It's a difficult place to go, so why go there all the time?
The brilliance of the design comes in the simple fact that human males are corrupted by power. Corruption so total, in fact, that they would rather hide the world itself rather than risk their power on it.
Please tell me how power on a globe Earth and power on a flat Earth are different. If you're in power, regardless of the shape of a planet. Ridiculous statement.
You could theorize that kings and popes were told of the world a long time ago. Maybe an ancient scroll or book. Perhaps an interdimensional being told the tale of what the world looked like. But this was all but dismissed because even the most powerful leaders of the day couldn't reach the borders. And if they couldn't, what chance did the general public have? It's one thing to be told of the giant impenetrable dome, but it's a whole different animal when you finally stand right next to it.
And please let me know, Mark, how you're doing with finding that edge. What's that? You haven't found it yet? Must be those armed penguins of the Antarctic.
Then the tough decisions have to be made. Do we keep the secret? And how far are we willing to go to keep the status quo? Once they decided to keep the secret, no expense was spared. The rapid progression of rocketry science had to be addressed quickly, and so the moon missions were created. Matt from the NASA channel was right in his thinking that you needed the moon mission event to stage a picture of the Earth from deep orbit, and that couldn't be more true. Establishing NASA as the frontrunner of space exploration also diverted people who would have otherwise created their own space companies for profit. The best engineers, technicians, and pilots were recruited to the NASA space program. Once there, they were compartmentalized on a need-to-know basis. The astronauts know of the deception and are sworn to secrecy under the penalty of whatever motivates them.
Okay, this is full on tinfoil hat. A load of unsubstantiated theories about an organisation that has a waste paper basket in its corridor that has a higher natural intelligence than an average flat earther.
Private space programs are discouraged, sabotaged, or absorbed into the NASA fold. Private sector spacecraft are just not going to be allowed for several reasons. The most obvious is the collision with the dome itself.
I can't seem to see a dome here.
The telemetry data from such a mission would show an impact failure at a certain altitude, and if repeated, would raise questions NASA just isn't prepared to answer. There are 3 perpetual questions about our world that can't be eliminated, but avoided at all costs. These are the questions you should ask yourself and others if this protective layer is going to be lifted. I'd like to preface this with a thank you to Max Malone, a conspiracy hardcore who has a knack for boiling down debates to a single paragraph whenever possible. It was he who said, after over 50 years and thousands of hours of space travel footage, both by NASA and other countries, there is no exterior shot where the astronaut completes the simple act of panning the camera 180 degrees, let alone a full 360-degree sweep. This has never happened on any moon mission, exterior space station, nothing, ever.
So, they aren't out there to appease flat earthers and conspiracy theorists. They're out there to do a job, risking their lives for humanity every single day.
Statistics will tell you that this would have already happened by accident years ago, but it hasn't, and it won't. This is because of the rule they cannot break, the same rule that applies to television set shows that never show the fourth wall. Why? Because there is no fourth wall. Number 2. When you search online for pictures of the Earth from space, 95% of what you will see is a collection of artificial composite shots. In 2000, when I did this search, there was exactly 1 picture by NASA showing the bottom part of Africa and Antarctica. Now that picture is hidden within hundreds of simulated images. There are HD cameras everywhere, and no one is taking a shot of the Earth, because you can't get enough altitude to do it. Number 3. The commercial air travel routes for the southern hemisphere are wrong. This is an easy thing you can check out in 60 seconds. Take a map reading of the distance between anywhere near Australia and anywhere in South America. It's a straight shot across the South Pacific. Now find your favorite travel site and try to get there non-stop. See what happens.
No problem. Here we go. Santiago, Chile to Sydney, Australia, non-stop. Easy.
The routes start turning ridiculous. I used to business travel for years, and I've never seen anything like it. It's the one thing in the general public world they can't hide, the actual distance between these two places. On a round world, the flight is easy, just a straight shot across an ocean. But on a flat world, it becomes the greatest distance between 2 points. There are no shortcuts, so they distract you with multiple connections and layovers.
Except for the flight that I found in 15 seconds? And I bet I could find more as well.
It's only blind luck that the United States was in the northern hemisphere. Otherwise, the increased traffic would have raised eyebrows by now. I know. It's madness. It's lunacy. There are people who will tell you straight to your face that all the leaders of the world are lizards, and yet these people laugh out loud when you say the words flat earth.
That's because it's funny, Mark.
I was, and still am, a huge conspiracy guy. I literally ran out of new tin hat topics to research, and I still wouldn't look at this one without embarrassment. But every time I glanced at it, there was something unresolved. And once I saw the near perfection of the whole plan, I was hooked. Do your own homework. Ask the questions. Get past the possibility, and see if you can move into an even bigger picture. Like who built the dome, and why?
I think you'll be waiting a long time for the answer to that one, buddy.
That's where it starts to get really interesting, and things start opening up. I know I said years ago that the greater good was something that should be preserved, that JFK, Pearl Harbor, and 9/11 were inevitable. I still believe it, and I understand the decisions. The globe illusion, however, has run its course over the last 500 years. It's time to start again. If that means we end up getting the attention of who or what created this place and force the reset of the world, is that such a bad thing?
Yeah, it's awful. I've only just got my play button for one thing. Mark dribbles on a bit more about links that aren't important and rounds it off after that. Overall, it's a thoroughly tragic attempt at trying to show there is some big secret that's being kept from all of us. If you found this video looking for Mark Sargent's Flat Earth clues, then you've had a lucky escape. Remember, this is a man who thinks a Flat Earth documentary that he starred in that debunked Flat Earth multiple times is good. That tells you all you need to know about Mr. Sargent. Right, that about wraps up another Flat Earth Friday. I had huge amounts of fun with this one. I hope you enjoyed it too. Please do like and subscribe if you did. I have been Simon Dan. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you all on Sunday night for the 3rd live astronomy lecture. One of the things you can do if you join the Patreon team is vote on a video every month to be critiqued by me. And this month, they've made an excellent choice.
People who know the Earth is flat and people who know that 9/11 isn't what they said it was are the most woke people on Earth.
That's right, everyone. It's time to get woke. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Flat Earth Friday with me, Simon Dan. Before we start today, if you'd like to vote on a video for me to check out, then please do have a look at the Patreon page. There are plenty of reward levels available there, and it would be great to see more people join the team. Right, let's get on with the show. Yes, that opening clip was from Golden Probe winner Nathan Thompson. He scooped the Most Annoying Nathan prize when we did the Flat Earth Award show back in December last year. He released a video last month entitled I Don't Want to Be a Flat Earther Anymore, and I thought, surely not. So I watched it, and believe it or not, the title is somewhat misleading. So let's dive into the mind of Nathan Thompson, but I warn you, it's very, very big, but very, very empty.
How we doing, ladies and gentlemen? Give you guys a second to get in here.
Oh my days, you couldn't be more obvious if you tried. A little a pan down to reveal some beautiful flat earth bling. Tragic.
Is transmission working? So, I was thinking about it, and not only do I not want to be a flat earther anymore, I never wanted to be a flat earther.
No one does, Nathan. The problem is, they watch a video on YouTube from a guy with very little scientific understanding, and then they come away from said video thinking they've been living a lie their whole lives.
I don't know anyone who really wants to be a flat earther. I mean, it comes with so much ostracism and ridicule.
But you are a grown man that thinks the world is flat. You are 100% setting yourself up.
And then you have the job of babysitting and spoon feeding all these adults around you who don't know how to question reality or research things independently or critically think about anything. I mean, I don't want to be a flat earther, but we got some real problems, guys.
We do indeed. We've got paranoia and the Dunning-Kruger effect, just for starters.
The globe has some real problems. One, nobody sober ever sees or feels the earth move, guys. So if someone could end this flat earth madness and just once, for the love of God, prove the earth moves just 1 inch, 1 foot, 1 mile progressively through space, or has a rotation, I would love that. I would sincerely love that.
I have the perfect thing for you, Nathan. Stellar aberration. Consider this diagram. Notice the man on the left is standing still under the rain, and the direction the rain comes from is straight up. However, the man on the right is running, so now he does not see the rain coming in from its true direction, but at an angle to that direction determined by his speed. The exact same thing happens with starlight because of the speed of the Earth as it orbits the Sun. Take a look at this diagram. The motion of the Earth actually makes light appear to come at an angle 20 arc seconds ahead of its true position, depending on the time of year. This has been documented many times and is close to scientific fact that you can get. Irrefutable proof that we move.
If someone can prove bendy oceans,
why would the oceans be bendy? The Earth is huge. The circumference is massive compared to us, so it does look flat in a local area. No need for bendy oceans.
And figure out why we can see 270 miles from Earth's surface.
Probably because you're on top of a mountain.
And someone could tell me why from a plane with an infrared camera we can see 700 to 1200 miles.
Probably because you're in a plane.
I would love to know, because I don't want to be a flat earther. I mean, nobody wants to have all their friends make fun of them and family make fun of them and be ridiculed in the news and be called a cult member. Nobody wants that.
Then don't be one then, Nathan. It's not hard. Just tell yourself it was a phase and move on with your life.
I'm a flat earther because I have to, because the information is irrefutable. The preponderance of evidence can't be denied.
Oh, Nathan's clearly never seen my channel.
The Northern Star has never moved.
Our survey said
the sailors have been using it to celestial navigate for over 1,000 years, documented. So, I mean, tell me why the North Star is always stationary, guys.
Jonathan Was Wrong knows a bit about that.
And we're spinning. Look at this. Look at this.
Actually, no, don't worry about him.
If we're on a spinning ball blasting through space 20 million miles a day, I've been doing star trail videos for 3 years. That North Star has never moved.
Then congratulations, you've successfully documented Earth's rotation.
And they've been using sextants to navigate with it for 1,000 years.
1,000 years is nothing when we're talking about the history of the Earth. The North Star is very, very far away and exists in 3D space, so effectively is above the Earth. Coupled with the fact that the North Star will be orbiting the Milky Way with us, then you're hardly ever going to see any movement. However, if you watch my astrology video on Tuesday, you will know that precession means the Earth wobbles slightly, which effectively means that we get a different North Star over a 26,000 year cycle. Effectively, the Earth's axis is pointing at a different star.
So, guys, the definition of the word insane is the inability to perceive reality.
Ooh, awkward.
So if I'm a flat earther and every day I walk out to a reality that is a spinning ball, then I am insane. But if I'm a flat earther and I walk out every single day to a flat stationary earth, then that means every globe earther is insane and part of a cult, and we're right. And you know what I've noticed over the last 3 years of running the largest flat earth organization on earth?
I wondered how long it'll take for him to bring that up.
Is that globe earthers have vain religious superstitions about why things fall or why things disappear out of their perspective. They've never conducted one single experiment on the shape of the earth. They have never, and will admit, seen or felt the earth move. And I just talked to a structural engineer yesterday, and he told me they don't account for curvature because they don't have to. It's too small. It's negligible.
Our survey said...
This is the Verrazano Narrows Bridge. The towers are 41 millimeters further apart at the top than they are at the bottom, due to, that's right, Earth's curve. He goes on to repeat himself for a further 2 minutes, and then decides to point out how us globies can be more woke.
They have the opportunity to snap out of it, because it's not just the globe Earth that we have a serious issue with if you're a truther. All the food that's in the grocery store is disgusting.
What? All of it? Every single thing? I have to disagree with you there.
Pink slime. Research pink slime in the meat. All the food they're feeding the food that you eat. It's insane. Everything's backwards. We are living in the last days, guys. And NASA and the world governments are busy building their army for Satan.
Finally, his true agenda is revealed.
And I'm going to quote the Fullerton Informer. If you're not following him on YouTube, make sure you go subscribe. But people who know the earth is flat and people who know that 9/11 isn't what they said it was are the most woke people on earth.
I'd say you're about as woke as the Sandman on double-strength sleeping pills.
My heart goes out to these cavalier globe earthers. It really does, because they're so deceived about the most basic of stuff. I mean, anyone can walk outside and prove for themselves, irrefutably, the earth is not a spinning ball.
Thank you for your concern, Nathan, and I must admit, I like the name Cavalier Globe Earther. I'm not even joking, I'm going to steal that. Simon Dan, the original Cavalier Globe Earther. Nathan then moves on to another classic flat earth topic, cold moonlight.
I mean, cold moonlight. Not only is moonlight cold, it's putrefying, damp, and bluish silver. The complete opposite of the sun. Sun is hot, preserving, it's how we make beef jerky. It's yellowish gold, and it's obviously dry. So, again, for the third time, the definition of the word insane is the inability to perceive reality. So, if you think sunlight is being reflected from the moon, ladies and gentlemen, that's textbook definition of the word insane.
Funny you should say that, Nathan, because I do think that sunlight reflects off the moon. Spectroscopy is a wonderful science. You can find out so much information just by looking at light emitted or reflected or absorbed. For instance, take a look at this graph. It's a graph that shows the spectra of both the sun and the moon. Damning evidence, wouldn't you say?
So, guys, I don't want to be a flat earther, but I don't want to be insane either. And so all the insults and all the ridicule and all these videos, you know, who's the dumbest Nathan, the UK Nathan or the USA Nathan?
Good question, and I saw that video. It was funny, but I'll have to say it's too difficult to call, just too difficult. Later on, Nathan decides to show us his flyers he's had made.
So, one of the ways I've decided to try and serve people is by everywhere I go, I'm handing out these flat earth flyers. 10 proofs the earth is flat, guys.
Now, I noticed on a previous video of Nathan's that in the description he popped an email address and said, if you want some flyers, please email me. So I did. I said this. Hi, I'd like to order some flyers, please. Thanks, Dan. I thought that once he'd seen it from me that he wouldn't reply, but lo and behold, a day later, he did. The original email said it was from SMD FIFA, so maybe he didn't realise it was me. So I replied, and this time the sender said Dan the Psyman. He must twig on now. That's great, thanks. How big are they? Because I have someone's car I need to just basically cover completely. Also, can I get a sticker version? Thanks, Dan. Can you believe it? He replied again, and he just said this. They're about the size of an iPhone. So desperate to give out flyers, he didn't even realise it was me. I'm sure he does now. Nathan ends the video by going to pick up some hats for his Flat Earth Facebook group. You know the one that kicks out globe earthers for no reason at all, even though it's called Flat Earth and Globe Earth Discussion. I am unfortunately blocked. Right, that about wraps up another Flat Earth Friday. Thank you all very much for joining me. If you enjoyed it, please do like and subscribe. I have been your ever faithful host, Simon Dan. Have yourselves a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you on Tuesday, where we'll be taking another look at the moon. For those of you that don't know, Antonio Subirats is a flat earther who fancies himself as a bit of an expert when it comes to all things flat earth. He's even gone as far as to write a book, which apparently contains a full working flat earth map. A couple of weeks ago he appeared on the Non Sequitur show when he debated channel friend Godless Engineer. I think it would be fair to say that he performed poorly.
Let's call it, I'm going to coin a phrase for it, a term, okay? I'm going to call it gravity and levity. Registered trademark, copyright Antonio Subirats. Gravity, like serious, down, and levity, light, up.
Well,
you know,
Antonio, this was great.
If you go on to watch the whole debate, you'll be quite dumbfounded to know how little Antonio actually understands. So imagine my sheer delight when I found a video of his that was even worse. Hello all and welcome to another episode of Flat Earth Friday with me, Simon Dan. Today's episode is brought to you by Rationality Rules' Debunked. A highly strategic card game of logic, reason and nonsense. If you like debunking videos like mine, as well as a good game of cards, then this will be right up your street. The aim of the game is to debunk fallacious arguments, like the ones we see all the time in the Flat Earth community, whilst preventing your opponents from doing the same. Maybe the Flat Earthers should have a little Inter-Flat Earth tournament. They'd learn a lot. Check out the info in the description if you want to see more details. Right, on with today's episode. Yes, the opening clip was from the Non Sequitur show where Antonio appeared. Please do go and check them out, they are great. However, Antonio streamed a video in the week where he has truly outdone himself. He really whets the appetite as well when he states in the chat that this will blow your minds. This will be
interesting.
So, The map, the book about the map that some people think doesn't exist, and that's just silliness, is about to come out. There are predictions made in the map, in the book, about what's going on in the world. It's one way of confirming that the map is correct.
It has now been released, and rest assured I'll be casting a very critical eye over that book.
This hangout is about one of the predictions. Okay, so I'm going to screen share. Come on, give me the screen. Here we are. Okay. TikTok for the globe. This is time and date.
Antonio doesn't have the best track record with timeanddate.com.
Can you see what it says there? Oh, sorry, that's the wrong voice for this. That says 22nd, not 23rd, 22nd. And this is, the September Equinox 2018 countdown from Time and Date.
Curious that even though you live in the UK, you'd use New York time. Nice try, Antonio.
Most of you know this program. It's free. It's a website, really. It's free, has data from all around the world. The data is correct.
This is rare that a flat earther would come out and say that an official website is completely correct. Let's bear that in mind as we continue.
Now, we're going to look at time zones, daylight saving time and daylight saving time at daylight saving and summertime, whatever you want to call it, okay?
Yes, daylight saving was an idea that was dreamt up in the early 1900s. The idea being that you can make the most out of the daylight that's available to you. Around 40% of the countries in the world move their clock forward 1 hour to take advantage of daylight saving, including here in the UK. It's why I was always late on the Sunday morning afterwards for my football game.
What we're going to do is we're going to go through a series of places. First, we're going to compare the United Kingdom and New Zealand, the opposite sides of this plane. We're going to see if things are consistent or if they're not consistent. We'll see to what degree they are consistent. And some of you will already know what's going to happen. Hey, Rolf. Okay, so here you are. This is the United Kingdom. You can see these clocks, and this is what happens. 29th of March, 25th of October. It's not always the same date, okay? It might change by a day here and a day there, or 2 days here and 2 days there. But basically what happens is this. Clock goes forward, clock goes back.
So far so good. Indeed, here in the UK in spring we move our clocks forward 1 hour to British summertime, and then in the autumn we move our clocks back 1 hour to GMT, Greenwich Mean Time.
You see? So clock goes forward, clock goes back. I'll play it for you and you'll see it's really kind of simple. Okay, so clock goes forward, we move ahead an hour. And now if you look at the bottom, clock goes back. Really simple, you know, clock goes forward, clock goes back.
Ironically, Antonio likes to keep things simple because he thinks that us globalings struggle with simple concepts.
Makes perfect sense. That's the United Kingdom. Let's look at New Zealand. Same thing. Clock goes forward, clock goes back. It's the other way around because of outside of the circle. So first, clock goes back, then clock goes forward.
Outside of the circle? He means the Southern Hemisphere, of course.
But same thing. It goes from 1 hour to another, and from that other to the one. Back and forth. From 1 hour to another hour, from that another hour to the 1 hour. Back and forth, back and forth. That's England and New Zealand, okay? So, United Kingdom and New Zealand, if you look at the map here. Now we're going to look at Chile.
Brace yourselves for what is either a cosmic misunderstanding or intellectual dishonesty in its most obvious form.
This is not forward 1 hour, back 1 hour. This is back 1 hour, forward 2 hours. But
what was that, Antonio? Forward 2 hours? Before we let him hash this up any further, let's actually take a look at what he's saying. So in April in Chile, the daylight savings end and the clocks move back from midnight to 11 p.m. That's 1 hour. And in October, daylight savings starts by moving forward 1 hour from midnight to 1 a.m. 1 hour forward and 1 hour back. The difference in when they make that change is irrelevant. An hour is an hour.
Let's pretend it isn't. Let's pretend it isn't, okay? Look, here you have a segment of the pie, okay, between 2 hours, same at the bottom. So go here, segment of the pie between 2 hours, okay? And people might think, oh, it's because it's 12. Doesn't matter, we're still talking hours, hour forward, hour back. Here, well, 2 slices of the pie, okay? So that's Chile.
2 slices of the pie? Antonio, if this is in your book, I worry. I really do.
So let's go ahead in Chile and look across. Just go forward in the years and see what happens. Should be the same all the time, obviously. No discrepancy, nothing to see here. Okay? No discrepancy, nothing to see here. No, just that weirdness. But obviously it must be because it's between 12 and 1. Well, really it's between 11 and 1. But let's pretend that that's not important.
And there is no weirdness. It's 1 hour forward and 1 hour back. One doesn't happen immediately after the other. The change is 6 months later. They can move it forward between 4 and 5 in the afternoon if they want to. It makes no difference. 1 hour is 1 hour. Of course they don't, because they don't want to mess everyone's day up.
Let's look at Argentina. Oh, what the heck? 2004, no daylight saving. Let's go to 2003. No daylight saving. 2002. 2001. God, 2000. Oh, right here. 2000. Oh, same as Chile. Up 1 hour, forward 1 hour, back 2 hours. But let's pretend that's not happening, huh?
It's not. It's back 1 hour, forward 1 hour. Maybe your book should be called How to Misinterpret Clocks.
Okay. So 2000, the year 2000. Oh, the year 1999. Nothing. Can't be important. The year before that, no change whatsoever. Forget. It's okay. This year, agriculture and business, you know, they don't need to worry about anything whatsoever. I'm scrolling back through the years. I'm now in 1994. Now I'm going to scroll forward again. Okay. So 1995, 1996, 1997, nothing. 1998, nothing. 1999, DST started on Sunday, 3rd of October, 1999, 0000. Clocks were not changed.
Sometimes a country decides it doesn't want to observe daylight saving, and Argentina hasn't done so since 2009. Shortly afterwards, Antonio tries to explain this discrepancy.
Okay. Forward 1 hour, back 2 hours. Okay, so it's back from 1. But obviously here it says 12. Okay, it's from 1. The clock has gone forward to 1. The 1 doesn't become the new 12. Okay, clock leaps to 1 at 12 o'clock. Oh, it's 1 o'clock now. Okay, carry on. La 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 la. It's 1 o'clock now. La 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 la. It's 12 o'clock. Move it to 11.
But it doesn't happen straight away, Antonio. I am almost beside myself in disbelief that you cannot seem to grasp that each change is 1 hour only. He moves on to Alaska.
Now, we are checking Alaska. See how the arrow is pointing here? Well, this is actually Alaska, but it doesn't matter, okay, because there's a sliver of it over here, okay? And it doesn't quite matter where they point this arrow. It's just, you know, just random. Okay, so Alaska. Hey, wait a second. Alaska's in the Northern Hemisphere. Shouldn't they do the same as England? Look.
No, they can make the change whenever they want. as long as it's 1 hour forward and 1 hour back. When the hour is moved, the whole clock shifts 1 hour forward. 12 AM becomes 1 AM, 5 PM becomes 6 PM, and so on. When they go back, the whole clock is shifted back 1 hour, so everything goes back to how it was before.
Okay, this is England. No, this is New Zealand, but same thing. See how in England they go back and forth? Slice of the pie, one slice of the pie in both clocks. Back and forth between those 2 hours. Now, where's Alaska? This is not that, is it? Can you see how that? Can you see how this is not that? This is 2 slices of the pie, isn't it? It goes from 1 to 3. See, from 1 to 3.
Oh my days, I can't.
Say the Globelings. And some flat earthers, okay?
No, we aren't saying that. We are either laughing or groaning. Just so we are all on the same page. Here is the UK again. And we'll work in Antonio's units of slices of pie, so even he gets it. Clock goes forward from 1 AM to 2 AM. That's 1 slice of pie. Then clock goes back from 2 AM to 1 AM. Also 1 slice of pie. Total, 2 slices of pie. Now, let's take a look at Chile again. Clock goes back from midnight to 11 PM, 1 slice of pie. Then clock goes forward from midnight to 1 AM, 1 slice of pie. Total, 2 slices of pie. The change is the same. Antonio spends another 5 minutes or so trying to prove his point, but I've had enough, so we'll wrap it up for today. And I have actually purchased one of Antonio's books, so expect a review very soon. Right, that means it's the end of another Flat Earth Friday. Thank you very, very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please do like and please do subscribe as well. I have been Simon Dan. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you all on Tuesday where we find out how the Mid-Atlantic Ridge was really formed. 2 weeks ago, I watched Logan Paul's movie entitled Flat Earth to the Edge and Back. It did many things poorly, but it did mock the Flat Earthers, which is one thing, I suppose. Now, I asked my subscribers if I should do a full review of said movie, and over 11,000 of you voted, to which 80% said yes, I should do a movie review. So I guess this is me doing a movie review on Logan Paul's Flat Earth movie. Hello all and welcome to another episode of Flat Earth Friday with me, Simon Dan. Thank you very much for joining me. So, the movie review. It was shit. Okay, I guess I need to explain myself a little bit. As I said before, the whole thing was obviously a setup from the start. You only need to look at this scene from the opening 10 minutes to know that.
That was the first time that was the first time that I saw it in person.
What did you see?
That was the first time I saw the edge of the earth. When me and my sister, kind of approached the side and looked over, it was just basically stardust, the cosmos. Just stars as far as the eye could see. I mean, just stunning. And that was the first time, that I really got an understanding. We've been lied to. We've been lied to.
And this one was a bit of a giveaway too.
Holy shit.
I cannot believe this.
After witnessing my good friend Mike, someone who I've known for years, professional, corporate, level-headed Mike, go on an unprovoked 4 a.m. globe-smashing rampage, it finally hit me like a pile of Pangean rocks. Mike is a flat earther.
As you can see, it was ridicule from the start. And the film continued on the same vein, mocking the flat earthers at every opportunity. And that was about the only good thing about it. Well, That and the production values, they were pretty neat. But what about the bad things? The actual acting was poor.
Run away with me.
What do you mean, like right now?
Come to Australia with me and we explore the flat earth from there.
Are you joking?
I'm not kidding. We can go to the edge. We can see what everything Mike has told you and more.
The scenes were scripted, of course, but they didn't need to make it obviously so.
This is security footage of an actual conversation that took place at 10 p.m.
Hey, did you think about what I said to you all the other day? The whole, when the Earth not being around, I mentioned it, when we were shooting that ball. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I haven't thought about that, because that's the dumbest thing I've heard in my life.
The writing was poor.
She's not like these other girls, bro. She's smart and she's genuine and she's hot. She's not becoming a flat earther.
The jokes were poor.
This is my shrine. All things flat Earth.
Logan Paul came across as having the maturity of a 12-year-old. And I could go on. I guess what I'm trying to say is I didn't really like it. At best, it shows the flat earth community in a humorous light. But at its worst, it could possibly allow people to sympathise with them at how badly they got roasted. And that's my main issue. What if the people on the fence, those that haven't decided yet, were put out so much by the manner in how he made and filmed this documentary that they joined the dark side? So I'm not going to talk anymore about the film itself, but I have found something a little bit more interesting. And that involves the Flat Earth Conference organiser, Robbie Davidson. He was the guy that set up the whole Logan Paul thing. Now Robbie runs the Celebrate Truth channel. We've looked at them before. Anyone remember this?
As we'll continue on with this video, you're going to see non-stop propaganda when it comes to super Earths. Who would want to live on Earth when you can live on a super Earth?
That was Robbie talking there as he spouted absolute nonsense. Now Robbie had the whole Flat Earth community licking his feet before the conference because he stated that he had an A-list celebrity that was going to announce himself as a Flat Earther to the world. The conference came round and this happened.
And it seemed like someone was on a journey. He had been looking into this. He was open-minded. He was willing to put his name out there and say, hey man, I want to come, I want to learn. So it's with great pleasure that I'm going to introduce Logan Paul. Brother.
Thank you, Robbie. Thank you, everyone.
And from that moment forward, Robbie was on cloud nine because he knew that Logan Paul was going to make a documentary about his conference. Then the trailer dropped and Robbie made a video.
Hey, it's Celebrate Truth. I'm Robbie Davidson, and guess what? Logan Paul is freaking people out. That's right. The mainstream is going crazy. If you're not in the know, Logan Paul is about to release his Flat Earth documentary on March 20th, 2019. He just came out with a trailer. We're going to get into that and a whole lot more, so stay tuned.
Oh, listen to the optimism in his voice, like he thinks it's going to be good for Flat Earth. Oh, bless him.
That's right. Logan Paul is in the news like crazy. And again, they are using this as so much damage control. It's unbelievable. I wanted to do a quick live stream, especially with The Verge, with their latest article. I'm telling you, they are in so much damage control. It actually is a little scary, to tell you the truth.
I don't think it was damage control. I think it was, let's all make sure that everyone sees the absolute spanking that Flat Earth is about to get. Pretty much everyone outside of Flat Earth saw what was going to happen. And even your own Mark Sargent realised, and he left the conference when he found out who the celebrity was. The rest of you lapped it up like it was a Globebusters video.
A 15-degree-per-hour drift.
Not now, Bob, but yeah, thanks anyway.
Because the words they're using and what they're saying is, it should be alarming to most people when you actually understand exactly what they're trying to do. Now, again, if people aren't familiar, they've been moving really, really swiftly to, suppress all of the views when it comes to YouTube and the algorithms And it's getting a little crazy. I'll tell you one thing. It's like, if you haven't been following exactly what's going on, you definitely have to stay tuned and find out exactly what's happening, because they are in massive damage control.
Well, what's happened is that YouTube are no longer recommending channels that are publishing absolute gibberish. That is sensible. That is what a responsible company should do.
Now, a lot of people are skeptical and they think, well, what's Logan Paul going to do? He just released his trailer. We're going to watch a clip of that if you haven't seen that. And I'll let you guys kind of decide what you think of it.
You will see shortly that the trailer cleverly makes it look like Logan is going to come out as a flat earther. It hides all the mockery very well.
But let me just tell you one thing. He's getting a lot of hate already just with the trailer. If you actually go to his page, and I will have a link in the description, you will see that there's a lot of people, with the same remarks. But what's most alarming is the damage control and how they're using words like dangerous. And we're going to read this article because there's a lot of stuff here that I think we have to unpack and understand exactly what's going on. Because when they're starting to bring Shane Dawson and Logan Paul into the mix and saying, look, this is really dangerous in what they're doing, this is an absolute suppression of free speech.
I don't have a problem with free speech. You can say whatever you want. But I have that right too. And rest assured, I'll be sat here waiting in this chair to tell all you flat earthers that you are talking absolute horseshite.
And you're going to even see with the comments, it's unbelievable what people are actually even saying about Logan Paul's trailer, and even touching on these conspiracy theories, and getting a lot of people kind of sucked in to this misinformation is what they call it. And as we're going to see, what are they so afraid of? Again, most of the comments are like, this is the stupidest thing we've ever heard of. There's no way this is real. What are they so afraid of? Well, here's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of the truth.
Why would people be afraid of learning that the earth is spherical? Not following you on that one, Robbie.
And there's the powers that should not be are behind the scenes, definitely putting pressure on the social media giants such as YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. And we're going to see crackdowns happening more and more. And I think 2019 has been a really staggering year as far as how fast they're moving in the search results. I've done videos on this on my channel as far as suppressing searches. If you do a search for flat earth, you find nothing but junk.
Let's test this. I popped flat earth into the search bar of YouTube and I got this. Oh dear, Robbie. Referring to your own channel as junk? Are we finally starting to come round?
And whether you think it's a mockery, whether you think it's a good piece, the reality is this, that he's touching on a subject. I had I was with Logan Paul when he was at the conference, and I do know that he was like, listen, man, no one's going to tell me what I can and can't do videos on. So, he's trying to go against the grain. And I'll say one thing, that, bravo to him, because if all of a sudden YouTube is cracking down and he might, lose some features on his channel, or, something might happen, he's willing to take that risk.
Oh, I don't think there's any risk, Robbie.
But anyways, let's go into the trailer real quick, because if you haven't seen it, I want to play it real quick for you. And then we are definitely going to get into the article, because I think you're going to be really surprised when it comes to what we're going to find out here. Let's go to the trailer here. And let's have a watch.
Conspiracy theories. We've all heard them.
Global warming, it's a hoax.
Who killed John F. Kennedy?
But even crazier, people that actually believe them.
I'm gonna say this as a friend. Do you think the Earth is flat?
The Earth is flat. Believe the Earth is flat? The Earth is flat. Satan's greatest lie. Destruction. The world that we're living in has been misdescribed.
What shape is the Earth?
Flat. Think that the Earth's flat, because if it wasn't flat, then we would all be falling off of it.
It gives me great pleasure to announce for the 2018 Third Flat Earth International Conference, this many people can start questioning the reality. The truth sets you free. The truth sets you free.
The evidence they presented that they did go to space is nonsense.
Do you acknowledge that other planets are round?
I don't acknowledge that other planets are planets.
People could think that it's round is because the shape of your eye is round.
We don't have toilet water flying out on people in Australia because of gravity.
when you're taught that you just came from nothing, because the scientific narrative is nothing exploded and created everything. And we're crazy.
I didn't know any of this stuff before I came here, and like...
You're still learning.
Truth sets you free.
I can teach you some things.
It's tough because you've been told something your whole life and you've been a certain way, right? Stop becoming a flat earther! I'm not saying I am.
Man, Robbie, I just don't know what to believe anymore.
The truth sets you free. Truth sets you free. Truth sets you free. Truth sets you free.
My name is Logan Paul, and I think I'm coming out of the flat earth closet.
And we are being set free.
Now that was the trailer in full, and you can see how it has Robbie Davidson and co drooling at the prospect of its release. Let's see what he thinks about it.
So it's coming March 20th. So remember that date, because I think it's going to be a big anticipation leading up to that date as far as his documentary. I know that he's put a lot of work into it. And again, I really don't know exactly, where it's going to be at. But what I can say is I personally believe that Logan will leave it open-ended.
This clip is from the end of the movie.
So now that it's all over, do you think the Earth is flat?
No, I don't think the Earth is flat. I think that's the dumbest shit I've heard in my life.
Quite conclusive, if you ask me. So there we go. I don't think at the moment it can get much worse for Flat Earth. First, a documentary where their heroes, their own heroes, prove the globe.
A 15-degree-per-hour drift.
Better timing, Bob, thanks. And then an absolute roasting from Logan Paul. What could possibly come next? Well, that wraps up another Flat Earth Friday, and what a Friday it has been. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please do like and subscribe. As ever, I have been Simon Dan. Have yourselves a brilliant weekend. Have a little bet at Aintree on the Grand National, and I will see you all on Sunday night for the final live astronomy session. One thing that Flat Earthers always like to bring to the table is long distance photography.
If Earth were round and had the exact dimensions that we were given, there are certain things that we should not be able to see.
The problem is they never, and I mean never, get their numbers right, and they often try and fudge them to try and fit their make-believe frisbee world. So what better way to put this one to bed than take on a video entitled 5 Times We Saw Way Too Far, This Changes Everything. Hello all and welcome to another episode of Flat Earth Friday with me, Simon Dan. Yes, that video there was produced by YouTubers Flat Earth Brothers. Remember them? They were the ones who tried to debunk weather last year.
And I'm going to slow it down, zoom way in, speed it up, that sort of thing. Let you draw your own conclusions about whether or not this is real, and look at some of the destruction that's taking place along the outside of this hurricane, as well as if we zoom way in on the center of this hurricane.
Well, they are back. I just want to thank my patrons for this one, as they voted for this video, as it beat off competition from 2 other Flat Earth videos. If you want to get involved in Patreon and vote for yourself, as well as have the opportunity to join in on a monthly hangout with me, then I shall leave the link in the description. Right, let's crack on with today's video, and we'll start from the very beginning. Oh dear. I'm here to tell you that every single one of those videos are possible on a globe because we live on one. Kind of a no-brainer, really.
If Earth were round and had the exact dimensions that we were given...
It is, and it does. Good night, everybody. No, just kidding, just kidding. Please continue.
There are certain things that we should not be able to see. And I'm about to share some videos and pictures with you guys that I have collected. These are not my own. I am sharing these with you. These are from people that are far better with cameras and infrared filters and all of that than I am.
Here's an example of separating the person from the presented facts. 10 points for you for being modest and honest. If only more Flat Earthers were this polite.
But this first one is by J. Tolan Media 1, and it's 120 miles away. And if you look at this picture with a regular camera, you won't see this far, and the horizon would be a false horizon. There are things that you cannot see with your own eyes or really good zoom cameras because of atmosphere. And these infrared filters that we're learning to use are starting to cut through the haze and show us that there are things we shouldn't be seeing, like this mountain here.
Ah yes, the good old infrared camera. They think it's a secret weapon, but what they don't realise is it's more like a poison chalice.
Simon Dan.
Whoa! You know, I should really be getting used to these by now.
Nobody can get used to science.
No, I mean you appearing out of nowhere.
Yes, I am doing that using science.
Right. What's going on?
I just heard your metaphor with the poison chalice. It was very inspiring.
Oh, thank you.
It brought a tear to my eye.
Oh? Well, I appreciate it. You know I work very hard on my videos and I try my best to...
We can't let this happen.
Sorry, what?
Science must be rational. I am here to put this video back on track.
I'm quite certain I can take care of it myself. No help required.
I appreciate your sense of humor, but we must continue. Please, carry on.
Alright. Where were we?
This mountain, which is 120 miles away, should be hidden behind 7,351 feet of curve. That's quite a lot of curve that's missing here.
11,000 kilometres. We could all fly from London to Kyoto, Japan, and it would be less of a distance. 7,351 feet is not 11,830 kilometres. In actual fact, it's 2.42 kilometres, so who the hell knows how they come up with that number?
And I know 120 miles, you can be skeptical of this, but if you look at it with the globe math, and the images here are not to scale, but you can see that the observation height of this mountain, you would be looking just above the tip of this mountain. And so, doesn't seem quite groundbreaking yet.
That's because it's not groundbreaking. Their calculations are a bunch of baloney.
Please be advised, baloney is not scientifical.
Yes, I know, it's just an expression.
Baloney is a version of Bologna.
Yeah, we all know that.
Bologna is a smoked sausage made of bacon, veal, pork, and other meats. Please keep this focused on science.
Oh, you want focused on science? I'll give you focused on science. We are starting from the premise that this video proves we see too far. It's quite fair to test theories, so we will grab the figures provided and input them into a curve calculator. According to the figures provided, the distance to the mountain is 120 miles. That means that at sea level, the horizon would be a little over 3 miles away. However, this photo was taken at an elevation of 150 feet, so we must put 150 feet into the observer height box. Now, we have a horizon that is over 16 miles away, and taking refraction into account, we can see that there should be 6,157 feet of Mount San Jacinto missing. Mount San Jacinto has an elevation of 10,834 feet. By the calculations we've just made and using the figures provided, we should be able to see over 4,000 feet of the top of the mountain. By taking an overlay of the infrared picture of Mount San Jacinto and placing it on the top of this image taken closer to the mountain, we can clearly and conclusively see how much is missing. Thus, the premise that we can see too far is not in concordance with reality. Enough said.
I'm impressed.
I know.
You should do a full documentary.
Perhaps.
Still, the name is Giacinto, not Giacinto.
For a more comprehensive explanation on this one, YouTuber Rory did a fantastic video on it last week. I'll leave the link for that in the description. Right, that's 1 out of 5. Let's continue.
And that was just 120 miles. Now we're going to look at a mountain that is 175 miles away.
So watch here. I mean, we don't see anything here. Now this, on a normal day, people are going to look at this and they're going to come to the conclusion that this is the horizon line. It's a physical separation between where the Earth ends and, you know, it curves over, and that's as far as we can see, period.
Oh, he's picked a Jeranism one. How long till we spot the mistake?
But on this specific day, the sun gets behind and creates a silhouette. So you'll see that coming up here shortly. And the fact of the matter is that these mountains are not floating and levitating in the air.
2 points for Jeran for pointing out that mountains don't float. Well done, buddy.
They're just not. They're not a mirage. Doesn't have any of the characteristics of mirage. There's no towering, there's no floating, there's no distortion, there's nothing.
We do try to keep our computer simulations up to date.
That is the mountains of Canigao. Now, when you hear people say, oh, it's just this mountain here, this peak is 9,000 feet, but the rest of the mountain chain is there. So granted, can you see down to 1,000 feet or down to the shore? No, because you're looking over a vast amount of water. And again, reading these things that I read today are just more backup of that, of exactly what's going on here.
Fascinating how they just read and regurgitate, like a broken down coffee filter that keeps spewing grounds.
But here, if you look at, this is not a mirage. You'll see this is not rising, this is not shimmering, this is the mountains of Canigao. And if you put in the curve calculator here, you know, an eye height of 1,000 feet at that church in Alash and a target distance of 175 miles, you get a hidden feet of 12,380. The mountain peak of Canigao is 9,400.
Interesting. That doesn't sound right.
So you're talking about 3,000 feet. These mountains should be, the very tip right here should be 3,000 feet below the curve. So what do you believe in that's floating these to the top? What is lifting mountains to the top? It's just not what they say.
Whether Jeran knew this or not, blatantly did, this is actually caused by a phenomenon that only occurs twice a year. On these particular days, exactly at sunset, the sun will be in line directly behind Mount Canigou. Due to atmospheric refraction and being in the exact right place, the church at Alouche, you'll be able to see the very peak of these mountains. For the other 363 days of the year, these mountains are not visible. Funny how Jeran omits that information. And you know what the kicker is? You can predict this precisely based on the heliocentric nature of our solar system.
What you're looking at is Mount Cadillac, 220 miles away from Mount Wachusett. The video was taken in infrared. I started the video feed at Boston, Massachusetts, and I panned to the left until I reached the correct angle where Mount Cadillac would be.
Really don't mean to be rude, but that doesn't look like a mountain.
And when you see the picture of the mountain that I took, it matches up perfectly with the picture of Cadillac Mountain at the exact angle it's supposed to be at. We are not supposed to see this under any circumstances. You still believe in NASA now?
NASA believes in you.
What, really?
Yes, we believe they may discover science one day and see the photons.
Well, that sounds rather poetic. So much for keeping this exclusively scientific.
Houston, I've made a boo-boo.
Well, to reply to this one, there's no proof that your elevation is what you say it is. The picture here looks like a smudge, and the video has already been removed. This is a poor one and it falls on its own. 3 out of 5 debunked. Let's continue. Oh man, this one again? Destroyed this one ages ago when I did a video with ODD. Here's a quick reminder on that one. I want to look into this a bit more. So this world record attempt is taken from Pic de Finistreles, an elevation of 2,820 metres. Pic Gaspard is the peak that provides us with the world record, and that is 443 kilometres away and stands 3,867 metres tall. Plugging all of that into the curve calculator and taking refraction into account, we can see that the hidden value is 3,816 metres. That leaves 51 metres left we should be able to see. Now, given that in the photo you can barely see Pic Gaspard, then that makes perfect sense and is exactly what we'd expect to see. 4 out of 5, going for the full house.
Lake Michigan. Good movie.
What? It's not a movie.
What do you mean? It has titles and everything.
Yeah, I don't know why all the flat earthers put titles like that. It's really distracting.
Lake Michigan, starring Anthony Hopkins.
Oh, stop it. Always setting this up to be a big one. Let's continue and see if J. Tolan Media can get this one right.
Lake Superior. That is the sequel.
Shush, will you?
Hudson Bay. Directed by Michael Bay.
I swear I'll start the whole clip over.
Oh god, no, I'll stop. Mississippi River. A family story.
Actually, I think there was a film called Mississippi.
Yes, with Bing Crosby.
Oh, you watch old movies?
It's part of basic training.
So, what's your favourite movie?
Classified.
Oh, okay.
No, the film is called Classified. It came out in 2016.
Oh, who's in it?
Some people. But the story is great.
What the hell is this guy looking for?
The Day After Tomorrow.
What?
I also like The Day After Tomorrow. Good film.
Yeah, no, we've passed that. I genuinely can't figure out what he's trying to prove. It makes little sense.
Maybe it's his holiday video. I do that too. Zoom in randomly. I find it most amusing.
Oh, the image froze.
Those are some very weird credits.
Shush please, I'm trying to think. There are two things I want to say about this one. Firstly, are we really expected to believe that those two grey lines are what J. Tolan Media says they are? They could be anything. For example, cloud shadows. And secondly, and perhaps even more crucially, if you go to J. Tolan Media's video on this, at this very point, he says this.
That just blew me away. Are we really seeing Hudson Bay? Wow, I'm not ready to make that kind of claim. I'm almost hesitant to even make the claim I'm seeing 1,200 miles.
He doesn't even know himself, so nowhere near approaching concrete evidence.
Personally, I hope they make a prequel, and then a sequel, and then another prequel.
Well, there we go. 5 times we saw way too far, 5 times utterly debunked. And we didn't even break out a sweat.
And we kept it very sciencey.
For the most part. Thank you all very, very much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do like and subscribe. I have been Simon Dan, and I'll see you all on Tuesday, where apparently Saturn isn't what we think it is.
Well, it isn't, but that's classified.
What, the movie?
Yes.
Right. See you all then.